Hi there, it is Linda Stacy, and I happen to be recording this on Halloween, so maybe many of you are still out and about with the kiddos and such. We happen to live on a part of a street where we get no one. So we're here, this is our fourth, maybe our third or fourth Halloween, and no one. So if you watch this in replay, I hope you do. I hope some people come on. If you do, say hello. Anywho, I'm going to talk tonight about biorhythms. This is chapter 3 of the Optimized You book. I am also going to talk a little bit about how some other people are taking advantage of some of the things that we have gone over in the last few weeks. And I also thought might be interesting to share what I'm doing, a couple of the projects that I have that I'm doing for the business, how I actually work with clients, how I like to work with clients most of all. I do love engaging here because I really feel like the people that are in this group really, I'm meeting you right where you are, potentially wanting some help with various things in order to make your life easier or more enhanced, or just, tweaking it here and there. So a little bit about how I use some of my own tips today. I talked about a brain dump a couple of weeks ago and about how that can kind of free you up because your brain can only handle about 7 open projects at one time. And if you're trying to keep everything that you have to do in your brain all the time, you're taxing your best energy, the energy that you could be spending on like the real interesting work, whether it's strategy or being creative or being present for the people that you're around, if you're trying to constantly hold on to things in your brain. So today I did a bit of a brain dump. I am preparing for a presentation I'm doing tomorrow for the USTA, New England. So that's the United States Tennis Association in New England. Hi, Joanne. And I'm doing 2 sessions with them, one tomorrow and one the next day. And so I've had a lot of things that I'm trying to wrap up. So I will literally stop myself and force myself to do a brain dump, because as I'm trying to get things done, I get very, very much into the weeds and hyper detailed and focused. I can see your comments, Joanne. I'm glad that you like The Office. You should see that wall. It's got wallpaper on it. Anyway, I don't want to lose my train of thought too much. But anyway, so I used the brain dump to kind of take a 30,000 foot view, because I kept getting in the weeds with all these other things I was trying to get done in order to be ready. So I'm, tweaking the details of the handout, or I'm adding some last things to slides, or I'm, whatever those things are. But, then I have to take a step back, take 5 minutes to write everything down that I know still needs to kind of happen in order that I'm ready to leave and I'm not frantic tomorrow morning as I'm on my way down there. So again, I'll use the brain dump whenever I'm beginning to feel my anxiety kind of raise a little bit and I want to ground myself. I feel like the brain dump works really well for that. We're also talking about biorhythms tonight, and I think sleep is one of the biggest issues for a lot of people. And using the brain dump right before you go to bed can be a really nice idea too. Just free yourself of all the stuff that's been going on throughout the day, and let yourself sleep a little bit better. And even if you do wake up in the middle of the night, sometimes your head will start racing, and you can have that pad of paper there and get it out and maybe be able to fall back asleep. Again, the world probably isn't going to come crashing down if you forget something or something didn't execute exactly as it was supposed to. Another thing, my sister, I've been reporting a little bit about her. She's starting this business on the West Coast. She's actually 2 years in now. She's rehabbing homes. And she commented to me today how much the previewing, the calendaring is really helping her in the last couple of weeks. And she's had these crazy curveballs. I think I mentioned in one of the lives that, she had a break-in one of the houses. It's now on the market. It's beautiful, and it's kind of weird what the people did. I won't even share here, but nothing major was taken. It was just like these crazy things, that happen when you're trying to make big change in your life, and how you kind of just keep going, and life is like that sometimes. So we're staying the course because we've got awesome things that are happening at the same time. So talking about biorhythms, all my life I've been reading about whether it's an exercise protocol or diet, or just beginning with those types of things, which you got to do what you got to do for you, right? But I was always very frustrated by these people who would write books and talk about, eating dinner before 7 p.m. at night, or exercising 5 days a week. And, I'm looking at my schedule and I'm like, if I really had, who has the life that they have? I can't eat before 7. I'm barely home before 7. Does this mean that I'm doomed, that I can't maintain a healthy weight or, you know, feel good or be fit or something. So I just had these major frustrations with the way that a lot of the fitness industry is set up and the diet industry. And there's so much information out there. I'm happy to report that more people are really being more balanced in the way that they approach these things. I really loved following JJ Virgin to some extent, and then Emily Schramm, who I mentioned another time, who talks a lot about our hormones and our adrenals and how we could be totally taxing our adrenals if we're over exercising, and then we're not doing any benefit at all. So in terms of your biorhythms and exercise, you know, if you want to try to bring anything in new to your life, I recommend just going easy on yourself and understanding that we're all built differently. And some of you might be familiar with Ayurveda, this ancient Indian view of, you know, our different body types. And I am not, I really, I don't know, because I'm not an expert in this, but the Pitta or Pita, you guys might know the pronunciation of that better. I really feel like these are the people who created the exercise industry the way that we know it. You know, these people who are just like, they just love exercise. They're out there all the time. They're, you know, whenever I attempt to do that kind of workout, I am completely drained and like, I'm worthless. I can't do any of my other work. I can barely get into the city after I was doing hot yoga at 6 o'clock in the morning because I was so drained and fatigued and was not supporting myself the way I was, the way I really should have been. So I just wanted to say a few things about exercise, and that you really need to do what is supportive to you and your constitution. And when I was first, you know, bringing living blueprints into my life and blogging about things, I did a couple of experiments. One of them was to do yoga every day for 30 days, and that was my own home practice. Getting to the yoga studio was no longer an option once I moved to Ipswich. I mean, it was already bad enough the way the commute changed. 90-minute yoga class, forget about it. So I committed to doing at least, you know, like 10 minutes a day for 30 days, and I did it, and it felt great. In the first few days, it was a little weird. I did feel some strangeness, but after that, it was really awesome. It was very doable. And to this day, I still do it at least 5 days a week. And it's even less than 10 minutes sometimes. And there's so much available online in terms of, you know, yoga that you can do by watching a video or listening to something, that you don't have to spend $20 or $35 and 90 minutes going to these classes to get a really great health benefit. And I actually think me doing it more frequently, not the 90-minute, but, you know, doing it almost every day, has had a great result. I did try also running for 30 days. That did not work out for me. Again, my schedule is just too much. I think my body type just was not set up for that. In all of the running that I've done, I would say less than 10%, maybe 5% actually felt good. I don't know, runners out there. Is that how it's supposed to be? That you only really feel good physically, like 5% of the time? Anyway, so I do have, obviously I have opinions about exercise, and I feel like people need to do what is right for them. But also with biorhythms, knowing when you like to do certain things, some people really are much better in the morning. So as much as you can offer that, you can honor that, even if you have a full-time job or whatever your other commitments are. You know, back in the day, I would wake up way too late and be running around. Now I am up usually 45 minutes before I even have to start getting ready to go to work, even into the city, which is a huge shift. That took a long time. But it is a saving grace, and I start inside me, you know, first thing in the morning before all the craziness starts, and know that I am better for everyone on the planet. You know, everyone who has to engage with me is better off because I've managed to do this. And all of this requires that I'm in bed by a certain time the night before, and this can be a huge challenge for a lot of people to actually get a decent amount of sleep. So I talk about a few different things that you can do in the book in terms of honoring how your body wants to operate. And I really recommend choosing like one thing and testing it. Test it for more than 5 days, because you might have to get over a hump like I did with the yoga. I think 30 days is a good try, but if you're really killing yourself with something like running, I wouldn't. Same thing with exercise, with a diet regimen. And you know, some people try to go like they try to do all these things all at once, and they just set themselves up for crazy disaster. You know, one small step towards something better that you can do for yourself for the next 10 days. It's just something very, very small. And then of course you have to think about is this going to be interrupted by something else that's happening in my life for the next 10 days? And how important is it for me to honor what I'm trying to bring into my life? And am I going to set myself up for success in whatever way that means? So, I mean, an obvious one is if you've got a party in the next however many days and you know that you want to not eat, I don't know, fill in the blank. And I'm not promoting or whatever. People can eat whatever they want. But if you're deciding that you are better off when you do or don't eat something, just be prepared for those environments and those experiences where you're going to be faced with choices that could be in conflict. You know, are you going to have something there for yourself? Definitely don't go hungry if you want to be avoiding what the options are. Again, just pick one thing if you want to touch, honor your physical being. It's the thing that carries around your awesomeness and allows you to be what and who you're supposed to be in the world. So that's a bit about that. And I just wanted to share a little bit about how what I'm doing with Living Blueprints is coming into organizations. So the USTA, one of the women who runs the New England chapter, or a number of chapters, was at a conference that I was speaking at in May, I believe. So she's having me come in and speak to 2 of her groups this weekend, which is really exciting because she knows me and she saw me, and I'm not like selling myself in this experience. She already knows what she's getting by bringing me in. And we're going to be using a lot of the same structure that I've been going over here so that her staff members can have a more elevated experience of what they're doing. A lot of them have jobs in addition to this work that they do for the USTA because it's their passion. So they want more time and space for this passion project and not to feel so drained and pulled in a million different directions, which is what the commitment often does to them. So we're going to go through, and she really wants this to be, you know, a time for them to feel inspired and to be committed to the bigger purpose, and not so much about whether they got every last detail, but that, you know, it's more about the yardage along the way. It's about what we're doing every day towards progress, towards growth of what they're trying to do for league tennis in the Northeast. So I really love her philosophy behind this, and that she just, you know, wants to enhance their skill base in terms of handling what they're committed to, but they just, you know, everyone wants to optimize fulfillment and satisfaction. And if you're just tired all the time, or, you know, you can really begin to miss the wonderfulness and all of it. And then second day, this is now with the committees, and the committees are also people who have jobs, but these people are not paid. They're not staff or anything like that. The committees, this will be a larger group, and we're going to use the same framework that I bring to these groups, that the how advantage. I'm going to use the same frameworks to get the committees and the staff to start talking about what the true purpose and value of both sides is, and to get everyone on the same page with what the main purpose of each group is, and how they can seek better alignment, how everyone can be on the same page. I am sure that there's going to be issues around communication that come up. I'm really excited. It's you know, it's basically a big facilitated discussion to help people feel more aligned and committed to something that they're very passionate about. So, you know, a lot of what I do is going to be based on the optimized you tips that will come in towards the end of both of these sessions. And ultimately, you know, it's so that individuals have and take higher levels of responsibility towards the commitments that they've already made. So this isn't about staff members trying to get committee members to do things and vice versa. This is about everyone agreeing to what the big goal is, and then deciding on where they need help, and how they're going to take the daily actions to continue the growth for the organization that they all love so much. So I'm super excited, and I just wanted to share one way that this is brought into an organization, in this case league tennis in the Northeast. So I think they're going to be Spitfires. They're probably going to be these people I was talking about earlier who invented the fitness industry and boot camps and all these crazy exercises that drained me of my last ounce of energy. But I think it's going to be great. So I hope you all have a great weekend. And, you know, going back to where we started, I think it's 005 recording on the YouTube channel is when I did the preview. So as soon as I am done with tomorrow's session with the USTA, I will be previewing next week. Actually, I already have started previewing next week because things start getting tight. We're going into the holiday season, and I just feel better. Even though 100% of the things are not happening, I don't know if I'm going to do Christmas cards, you know, all these things. I'm not going to sign up for it all, but I just want to be more committed and aligned with what I'm doing day to day. And I found that I have more energy when I take the time to kind of set a course for myself. Even when I have days like I had yesterday, which you guys can go back and watch. Anyway, I hope you have a great night, and I will see you next week, and I'll tell you how it went with the USTA. All right, good night, guys.